This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life.
Hello, everybody. It's Paul, and I wanted to talk to you a little about something really important here. Many years ago, when I was a little boy, I was playing with some friends, and a stick went into my back by accident, and I pulled it out, but I guess I didn't pull it out well enough, and it stayed there. And when I was older, I started to develop a sore or something there, and I went to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with skin cancer. And I always thought skin cancer came from getting too much sun in a certain area of the body. And I said, how can I get skin cancer in the middle of my back? And then after doing some research, I found out that cancer doesn't only develop, or with skin cancer doesn't only develop by the sun, but it can develop by a wound not healing correctly. So I had to deal with it, and I did a lot of research, and I found something called black salve, which is a black herbal ointment, and actually pulled the tumor out of the skin. And it was a video that I made, and it was really dramatic, healing experience, but it worked. The point is, I went to the extreme to find out what will work. I don't want to say alternatively, but I want to say naturally, or the most safest way to get rid of cancer or avoid cancer and so on. That's what my life is about, is just avoiding disease and getting rid of disease, and trying to do so. I can't make any claims or guarantees about certain things, but I can know and remind everybody, research speaks for itself, and the answers reveal the answers. So as I continue meeting and people, speaking to a lot of people that suffer from cancer, cancer runs in their family. There's a lot of fear about cancer, about the gene that my own sister and mother have cancer. Am I worried about the gene that I can have it on? I just want to do the research and protect myself as best as possible, to at least reduce the chances. I actually know people that eat as healthy as I do, and they've ended up being diagnosed with cancer. And you could look at something like this two different ways. You could say, well, that diet doesn't work. Or you could say, well, this man got cancer at 50 or 60 years old. If he wasn't eating as healthy as he was, maybe he would have got it at 20 years old. It prolongs your health. So these are ways you could look at it. There's no panacea out there where it's going to guarantee everyone's not going to get a disease or something else. But we have to go with not we got to go with research, and we got to go with history. We got to go with what works on a cellular level, and do the best we can do. This is why I don't necessarily believe in chemotherapy, because you're killing the bad cells, but you're also killing the good cells, and we need those good cells. So after doing a lot of research, I came up with what I have found is one of the best ways, if not the best way, to prevent and also help your body be strong enough to overcome cancer and all other diseases. And that is this product called Astaxanthin, which I've been talking a lot about. And I wanted to just explain to you what first really got me excited about Astaxanthin is the animals. Seeing the animals in nature. Me being somebody that says, well, I want to eat like the animals eat because animals are healthy. The only animals in nature that really get sick or get the same disease we get are the animals we give our house pets, because we give them our food. And, so I always looked at the animals in the wild. Well, which animals are healthiest in the wild and why? And what are their diets like? What are the longest living animals in nature, and what are their diets like? I'm not comparing the chemistry of an animal to the chemistry of a human. However, it speaks a lot. If you have an animal in some forest somewhere all the way hidden around the world, and they're eating a certain grape, and that animal's living to 100 years old, guess what? There's probably something good in those grapes. Well, there's a product. There's some animals in nature that don't get cancer, and cancer today went from years ago being 1 in every 100 people to 1 in every 50 people to 1 in every 10 people every 3. Now it's 1 in every 3 people are going to get cancer. Either something is missing or something is wrong, but I think it's a combination of both. I think it's a combination to the mass amount of sugar and sodium and just overeating that people are doing. And at the same time, we're missing something that's going to protect our bodies. The antioxidants and phytonutrients that are found in fresh fruits and vegetables, because people aren't eating enough of them, or they're being destroyed through genetic engineering and modification of food. But the bottom line is we're getting too much of something that we shouldn't be getting, and we're getting too little of something that we should be getting. And what can we do, and how can we help this situation? Well, I interviewed the fellow that was telling me and has a company, Astaxanthin, which I believe is in its best form. And he was explaining about how he discovered when he had cancer in his research, the animals that don't get cancer. And he compared them to their body weight. The animals that live for a year or 6 months, who cares about those? But the animals that live a really long time, why don't they get cancer in a long time? And he did research and he found some great stuff out. And that's his outcome. Let me put it this way: I have enough videos about this, but his outcome, the final outcome he came was these animals had one thing in common, that they don't get cancer, and that was astaxanthin. So I'm going to put this clip here of him explaining that, and then I am going to implore you and ask you and pray for you that you would try this product out and you would get it. Because I am personally taking it, and I am personally telling you it works. I give it to my children, it works. And, I know, there's so many things that'll keep people making for a decision that's going to be good for their health, whether it's the doctors brainwashing them, whether it's a disease diagnosis, or whether it's money or whatever else. I'm promising you, I tell you, this works. The science backs it up, but I know it works. People say, well, when are you going to feel it working or see it working? Now, if somebody has a disease, they're going to see it working because they're going to see the blood numbers have to go down. But if you don't have a disease, you're not necessarily going to see it, but you're preventing it. You're preventing something. So you want to prevent things. I feel the great energy I get from this, but I could get energy from a lot of things. But I know the science behind this, and I know it works. So I want to anyone, not just with cancer, but with any disease, because astaxanthin works with all inflammatory diseases, and it works with autoimmune diseases. It helps reduce the inflammation like nothing else out there. I mean, it's many times stronger than most of the foods that we commonly know as the highest antioxidants. And I'm going to make another video about that, but please don't hesitate and get this product for you, not just yourself, but and your family and your loved ones. It is definitely worth it. And when you look at the amount that is prescribed and what it does, it's actually not expensive at all when you break it down and you think about it. So please put any question you have below the video. Here's a little clip of the owner of this company that I feel is the best astaxanthin on the market, quality-wise, explaining about the animals and nature and how he discovered that when he had his cancer, and then how he ultimately discovered astaxanthin.
I said, there's got to be some animals that don't get cancer. And I'm thinking alligators, turtles, catfish, the bottom dwellers that are exposed to a lot of stuff. But when I started the research, I found 5: salmon, pink flamingos, sharks, elephants, and naked mole rats. And at that time, I was working with a group out in San Diego, and I asked them if they could determine what is a common molecule that exists across all those genus. If it had been all in one species, like dogs, or just all in humans, or just all in elephants, I'm not sure that we really would have found it. But the fact is that it was across all those genuses, and when they did the test, they did the mass spec, and they found a single molecule that exists across all those genus, and it was astaxanthin. But in 2006, I found 5 animals. I now know of many more: shrimp, lobsters, even hippos and manatees have a very low incidence of cancer. And they thought it was because they had a number of what's called P53 genes in their chromosome. Bigger animals have much larger quantities of these P53 genes. And I also hunt dinosaurs, and we're looking for bone cancer in fossils and trying to figure out, these animals got so large, there's a good chance these dinosaurs were maybe 1,000 years old. So their lifespan was quite a bit different, and they never stopped growing. But something, usually with that many cells in your body, trillions and trillions and trillions of cells in these big animals, the probability says that they should get cancer routinely. They should never be able to grow to that size. And the reality is they did, and they don't get cancer. So that was the real push. And those animals, some short-lived animals like the The mole rat only lives maybe 3 years. Who cares whether he gets cancer or not? All he wants to do is eat and mate and live out his 3-year lifespan. So cancer never really became an issue in the smaller animals. So mice, for example, are great to test cancer on because if they get it, it's easy to test for it, and it's prolific. It really takes off in mice and rats and smaller animals. But the big animal, the elephants, they live to be 50, 60 years old, and they have trillions upon trillions of cells in that mass. In the 19th century, it was only 1 in 100 people actually got cancer. It could have been life expectancy too. The average life expectancy was only 49. But in 1950, the cancer rate was 1 in 39. And then when Johnson passed the law allowing high fructose corn syrup, to be added into our food supply, in 1980, our cancer rate was 1 in 5, and in 2017, it's 1 in 3.
Wow.
So something drastically has changed, and we're escalating. Out of 3 people, somebody directly, you're only 2 people away from knowing somebody that has cancer.
Okay, everybody, there it was. The link is below the video. Get the Astaxanthin now. If you're a member of the Real Life Health Show, you can get 10% off your order. And if you have questions, please let me know. And thank you. And please share your testimonies with me after you start taking this, because you will have some.
This is the Real Life Health Show. Real Life, brighten up your life. This is the Real Life Health Show. Real Life, brighten up